Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
A very warm welcome to you all from our studios here in Berlin. Let's have a look at what's coming up for you today. Looking ahead, how internet technology is changing everyday life. Tourist attractions, why glossy brochures are a thing of the past. And keeping time, a German watchmaker and his valuable collection. But we start the show with this year's first Paris Fashion Week, which featured many blockbuster collections. Amongst all the big designer names was the German brand Allude, who were the first ever to present a cashmere collection on the pret-a-porter runways. We followed the team backstage as they prepared for their debut show in the French capital.
Cashmere in pink or dark berry hues. Wild patterns. That's Allude's cozy and elegant vision for the upcoming fall-winter season. The German fashion label based in Munich made its debut at Paris Fashion Week on Wednesday. It's a milestone for head designer Andrea Karg. Getting into the official schedule of shows in Paris is a coveted privilege. Only 2 German labels are here at all. And Allude is the first cashmere label ever to be included in the show calendar.
I've never felt like this before. You can't compare it to anything else.
Andrea Karg and her team spent 4 months preparing for the show. In the 36-hour countdown to the start, everything needs to come together. The makeup is tested, the seating plan discussed, models cast, and the runway look finalized. The label, founded in 1993, has a strong following in France. French journalists persuaded Karg to apply for a spot in Paris's official schedule of shows. Karg is aware of her newcomer status, but still hopes to pull in the crowds.
We'd like to see all the best and most important people in our audience, but we're realistic. We're here for the first time and have to earn our laurels. Nobody has been waiting for us. We have to prove ourselves, and we're confident we will.
26 models were chosen for the show in Paris. In recent years, Allude has showcased its collections at Berlin Fashion Week. But Karg says Paris is a whole different league.
The professional level of the girls here is very high. The pret-a-porter shows in particular draw the best models from all over the world, and the choice of top-class girls is incomparably greater than in Berlin.
Later in the evening, Karg checks out Paris's Grand Palais. Built in 1900 for the World's Fair, it's a regular venue for Paris Fashion Week. This week, the events here included a big Chanel show, and now Allude next door on a smaller scale. Nonetheless, the Paris show is a 6-digit investment for the German company.
Of course, everything here is more expensive overall. How much? The models alone are more expensive, as is the location. I mean, renting the Grand Palais and this gallery is another factor. But Paris is the capital of fashion.
The next morning is the day of the show. After a short night, Allude's team of 70 is busy backstage in the Grand Palais. Clothes are quickly donned. There is a short catwalk rehearsal. Meanwhile, guests are gathering outside the Grand Palais, waiting to be let in. 450 photographers, fashion buyers, and editors have showed up. Paris Fashion Week is hugely important for any fashion label, as editor-in-chief of German Vogue, Christiane Arp, knows.
I think you achieved something different here from what's possible at the moment at Berlin's Fashion Week. Remember, all the big buyers are here, and ultimately they decide whether a collection thrives. Here you reach an international audience.
And what do her colleagues from international publications say about the German label's debut?
French people, it's always a pleasure to have like a different market to come in our country and in Paris, because for fashion, we always need like to have more inspiration around us. So yeah, it's a good thing, definitely.
Just a few more seconds before Cog's show gets underway. Would she like to be at Paris Fashion Week every year?
Of course.
She can breathe a sigh of relief. Alud has passed the test at the world's most important fashion event.
And the world's largest computer trade fair, CeBIT, is held every year in the German city of Hanover. With over 4,200 stands from 70 different countries, there's a lot to discover about the future of technology. One of our highlights this year was how computers can control people's homes. And we found one such intelligent home here in Berlin.
The intelligent house here in the Berlin showroom of a Future Solutions Association might look like an ordinary home, but in reality, it's a complex network of computerized devices.
Hier habe ich eine Übersicht.
Here I have an overview of all the things in the house that I'm able to control.
Habe auch die Möglichkeit, diese direkt hier zu steuern, zum Beispiel die
There's the lighting, for example.
In diesem Fall.
Or completely different items such as kitchen appliances.
Noch mit einbinden kann, Küchengeräte eventuell.
Systems for networked homes have been around for about 10 years now. But the success of tablet computers and smartphones may lead to a real breakthrough for intelligent houses.
Die Gerätesteuerung funktioniert auf
The appliances are controlled via any internet-enabled device, a tablet computer, a smartphone, or a home computer. This gives me remote access to the household appliances. For example, when I'm not at home, so that I can check whether I turned off the coffee machine or not.
So even away from home, you can choose a recipe and your computerized kitchen assistant will calculate the ingredients. You can also watch cooking videos from the internet.
Here I'm instructed to preheat the oven to 180 degrees. Of course, I could do that manually, but today's ovens have very complex settings. So here an assistant or the software can save me work and carry out precisely the setting that is given in the recipe.
45 manufacturers and research institutes have contributed to the exhibition here in the showroom. One of them is Riedel, which specializes in heating.
Our contribution is individual room temperature control. The big advantage of this networked system is that you can turn the heating on or off as you need it from a distance.
This is Riedel's headquarters in Berlin. The company is always searching for new ideas. This technology can reduce energy consumption by up to 30%, which is good for the environment as well as your wallet. Installing a heating system like this pays for itself in 7 years. The big selling point is convenience.
People's lifestyles have developed to a point where you can now use a tablet computer or cell phone as a universal remote control in your living area. So this technology makes life easier.
Back in the Connected Living Association's showroom, but it will be some time yet before these kinds of homes become commonplace.
We won't all live in smart homes, but groups of users will greatly profit from the technology. I think it will have matured in about 20 years' time, but until then there's a lot to be done.
Appliances from different manufacturers have to learn to communicate with each other. Here that has already happened. This exercise machine communicates with the television and is also connected to the internet. And so your stationary bicycle takes you on a virtual ride through Berlin or some other city and taps the internet for information on the sites lining your route.
There's a medical context here. The machine keeps track of whether I'm overexerting myself. I could also attach sensors to my body or belt to measure my pulse. This helps me avoid overdoing my workout. And also I can collect data for my doctor to analyze.
Less than 1% of all buildings in Germany are equipped with this new technology. Price is one of the reasons. The networked kitchen system alone costs several thousand euros. When everything is finally interconnected, you won't have much to worry about. The smart house even knows whether anyone is home. Saying, "last one out turns off the light" will be obsolete.
And we're staying in Berlin now for our next report, as the capital is currently home to the world's largest travel trade show, otherwise known as the ITB. With some 170,000 visitors expected, it seems that the tourist boards are doing all they can to attract the attention of the public and present their country as the ultimate holiday destination.
If you haven't yet booked your next vacation, strolling through the world's biggest holiday fair is certain to give you some ideas. With exhibitors here from 180 countries, it would be impossible to visit each stand, so we'll concentrate on Europe. Most exhibitors have put together glossy videos to whet the appetites of potential visitors to their countries or regions.
A video has to play with the emotions. The images are as important as the music, and they have to be spectacular. That's the only way to make sure you stand out from the whole array of video content around today.
What could be more spectacular than the Dolomite Mountains of South Tyrol? The filmmakers simply let the pictures speak for themselves. Host Germany has put together a video featuring a little bit of everything, with a focus on world-famous monuments, bustling cities, and romantic landscapes. Croatia is making use of large-screen video clips. The images show the highlights of the country on the Adriatic Sea, with magnificent sandy beaches and a whole range of cultural and historical attractions. Poland has made a website especially for the event. Visitors can choose videos showcasing the country's best features.
I go to Poland to relax.
Some clips are just 45 seconds long. They're specially designed for internet users.
All the movies were created especially for internet and social media, because we found that this is the most popular mean of information in which young people and potential tourists look for the information about Poland.
Switzerland is one of the smallest countries in Europe, but wants to highlight the diversity of its natural environment. Perfect material for video marketing.
The first priority is to make it stand out from the flood of videos available. Every country claims to be the most beautiful and interesting. Switzerland values honesty, authenticity, and humor. People don't expect humor from the Swiss, so they're particularly surprised by it.
The video concludes, "We'll spare no effort to make your walking holiday perfect." The most recent video was filmed in the Swiss town of Schkuol in the Engadin Valley. It took a 36-member team 4 days to shoot. The footage features the same pair of bearded characters, this time focusing on Switzerland's reputation for making clocks. The actors are not professionals. In real life, Paul Betschat, in the foreground, is a farmer and Sebi Küttel drives a cable car. This is the pair's 4th marketing film for Switzerland. There's a message in there somewhere. To discover it, you'll have to visit the country yourself.
Now, the Lonely Planet Travel Guide recently announced their poll of the 100 best bars around the world. First and third place went to bars based in the Hungarian capital, Budapest. So, Euromaxx went along to check out their winning assets.
The A38 in Budapest is the world's best bar. On stage, the Hungarian band Napra performs world music.
We like it very much.
I come here every week, nearly every week, and it's really awesome. I love it.
It's great. As Hungarian people, we are very proud of A38.
The A38 is an old Ukrainian cargo ship anchored on the banks of the Danube. It's a popular party location. Vera Szabadkai offers tours of Budapest's nightlife venues. The A38 is always on the agenda.
This is easily like the best place for concerts. They have the best concerts in Budapest, and you know that it's a very cool venue with the ship, and you're close to the river, the Danube. You can stand outside and look at the water, and the music is always great.
The evening's entertainment often includes live sets by a number of bands.
The main purpose of it's a concert venue, first of all. But of course we are competing like multicultural, multifunctional things, like we have a first-class restaurant upstairs, we have a concert hall, some bars, and an exhibition hall at the same time. It's a meeting point, a really nice meeting point.
The A38 has 2 bars below deck and a terrace bar. Drinks are reasonably priced. And there's a great view of the River Danube. Now Vera Szabadkai takes us over to the other side of the river. The A38 isn't the only unusual party location in Budapest. A number of interesting night spots have opened up over the past 10 years, including several bars in old ruins. The oldest one is called Simpla Kert and has been voted the world's number 3 bar.
Simpla is almost an institution. It's the best known ruin pub. And yeah, it really started this trend of ruin bars where you just open a bar in a courtyard of an old building in the middle of the city, and you can see the design is very special, so it has a unique atmosphere.
Simpla Kert has been in its current location since 2004. It attracts both locals and tourists.
I like the bizarre interiors of this location.
There's nothing like it in New York, where I'm from, so it's a great cultural experience.
We don't have a place anything like this in Paris, an alternative place that the people have created themselves. I like it a lot.
The bar's founders didn't have much cash to spend. Their aim was to create a place with lots of creativity where everyone can feel relaxed. And that's why Lonely Planet readers have voted it the world's 3rd best bar.
Simpla is an indescribable phenomenon. If I had to define it in some way, I'd say change is permanent. We would have been happy to be among the best 100. So of course, third place is fantastic. And we were more than satisfied.
Farah Sabat Kai heads for the next venue, and who knows, maybe it too is one of the world's very best bars.
To finish the show today, we just about have time to feature someone who holds time very preciously. Munich-based watchmaker Gerd Rüdiger Lang has an extensive collection of watches, which he's accumulated over the last 40 years. He has 60 of them on display at his home, and he kindly offered to show us a few of his prized possessions.
These watches are part of one of the most important privately held collections of timepieces in Germany. Some people collect watches as an investment. For others, it's a passion. But most collectors have one thing in common. They don't like to talk about their hobby in public. Watchmaker Gerd Rüdiger Lang is an exception.
Sammeln ist etwas ganz Persönliches.
Collecting is a personal thing. You can build your own little kingdom and play with it. It's like a box of toys. But when they're watches, they retain their value too.
Lang keeps his collection in the cellar. He owns between 700 and 1,000 pieces. He's unsure of the exact number. All of them are chronographs. They have a stopwatch function. And that's just one of his collecting criteria.
Uhren, bei denen die Werte nicht stimmen, die zwar teuer verkauft werden.
I don't buy watches that don't have intrinsic value. Some watches are sold for a lot of money, but they're not worth the price. Like the plastic watches from Swatch, for example. I don't go for them. There was a lot of hype about them, and most people lost their investment.
The high value of Lang's collection has pushed up his security costs. Many collectors are concerned about theft. A few kilometers away in this Munich hotel, Germany's biggest watch trade fair is underway. Sales representatives and collectors come here from all over Europe 7 times a year. Most of them are careful not to talk about their collections, even to other collectors. Christian Pfeiffer-Belli writes about watches and says there's good reason for caution.
There's always the risk someone might turn up at the door with a gun and demand the collection. We often hear about people who might not have been careful enough, and one day their collections were gone.
Despite that, collecting timepieces is all the rage. Many buy as an investment. But even specialists like Christian Pfeiffer-Belli can't predict which models will one day be worth a fortune. He advises collectors to buy watches that have never been worn or used watches in extremely good condition. Collectors who wear their own watches should expect them to lose at least 30% in value. Despite the boom in the online market, watch fairs like this one remain popular because customers can inspect the watches themselves. We return to watchmaker Gerd Rüdiger Lang. He displays his 60 most prized pieces on 3 floors of his premises. The most valuable object in the exhibition is also one of the first wristwatches with a stopwatch function ever made. It was produced in 1910 for the Russian Tsar. The watch's face resembles that of a pocket watch. The gold wristband was made by legendary Russian jeweler Fabergé.
It's particularly satisfying for a collector to get a watch complete with the original packaging. And if possible, the bill too, signed by the watch's seller.
Like most collectors, Lang has had his share of bad luck. He sold a watch that once belonged to Hollywood actor Steve McQueen. It would be worth a fortune today. Apart from that mistake, Lang says his collection is pretty much complete.
And we are pretty much complete with today's show now as well. Do hope you can join us again soon, though, for another edition of Euromaxx. But until then, take care, goodbye and tschüss.